people feel that they belong. Sometimes they even describe it, as a family because you are participating in the decisions. You are much more aware of all the needs of the organization.
Today we're talking about self-managed organizations.
Mhm.
And I guess my first question to you is, what is a self-managed organization?
Okay, so a self-managed organization is that in which everyone in the organization is able to contribute the ideas, suggestions, energy that is needed to make it work to the best, right? So basically, it's like roles are not assigned in terms of like titles. So, but basically, it's like let's allow everyone in the organization, from those that are what we generally call blue collars to those that generally we call white collars. Let all of them contribute what they know about the client, the product, the market, the technologies, so that actually we can improve all the processes and we can give the best service.
And that's automatically a flat organization as well, or is there a difference between self-managed and flat? Or I guess the opposite of flat would be a deep organization or a hierarchical organization, I guess.
Self-managed organizations are much flatter than the organizations we generally know, but not necessarily that they are full flat, because there might be some of the functions that you still have to have there, so to support, but they are way much flatter than other organizations that generally are organized by different levels.
You have studied in the paper that you published, I think last year, a couple of organizations. And can you give us a view on what are the advantages and of self-managed organizations? I guess maybe even some disadvantages.
The main advantage is that people feel that they belong, they fully belong. Sometimes they even describe it, as a family, in the sense of saying, like, okay, so in a family, you decide whether, you are going to be living here or there, and you talk to your husband, wife, or loved one to decide, what is best for the family. That doesn't mean that everything that is going to be decided, they like it, right? Second thing is that actually, because you feel you belong more, then you are more committed to the decisions, because you feel that you've been heard of, and that you've been actually taken into account. So once the decision is made, you put yourself more into it. And third thing is that actually it's not that you are only doing some technical, because you are in sales, for instance, and you know everything about sales, but basically because you are participating in the decisions, you are much more aware of all the needs of the organization or the needs of any of the stakeholders. To the dark side, which obviously also exists, you have to be very keen or very specific on how you select and attract people, because not everyone might be good for, or might be a good fit for, this kind of organization. It has to be someone that is professionally mature, that is willing to invest himself or herself. So that means, that the pool of talent might be a bit smaller. Second thing is that sometimes decisions might be a bit slower, because you are willing to hear and listen. At the same time, they might be slower, but they might be more effective.
You talked quite a bit about belonging, sense of belonging as a potential advantage
Mhm.
of this self-managed organizations. And I guess certainly after the pandemic, we have been in a pandemic of a different kind of lack of sense of belonging to in organizations that I think we've seen in many ways. So are you saying that self-managed organizations maybe are becoming more popular or more relevant now in the context that we live in right now?
Once the pandemic, kind of like fostered that, but that was still already a trend that people really want to be part of projects in which they can feel, that they are contributing to something that goes beyond, just like making money or getting a good product. And this kind of organization allows for that sense of belonging, to be part of something that is bigger than themselves.
Unless you are the entrepreneur who's creating it right now. If we think about an existing organization, the ideas that you have just developed and laid out about self-managed organizations, how can they help uh, senior leaders in already existing organizations?
Definitely it's easier if you are born this way, right? Rather than if you are transitioning to becoming a self-managed organization. But I still think that is very much about the mindset, So all leaders have to make decisions, and you can either make them, with your smaller group of, like, let's say, advisors or people that you trust, or you can have the mindset of, like, okay, so anyone in the organization might have relevant information. So let me find the ways to arise that information in a way that it's also efficient, right? So that it doesn't take forever. So let me give you an example. So now I'm working with an organization. They manufacture metal things, right? So things for doors and knobs and that kind of thing. And so they are transitioning to this kind of organization. And part of it is like, okay, so let's improve the quality, right? And so how can we improve the quality? By listening to those people who are working in those machines. Let's improve the client service. How can we do that? So let's be more aware of the client's needs, by listening to those who are really, in touch with them. So they're transitioning by doing very specific things that allow people to really get their ideas. And sometimes for these people, it's like, I know this for years, that this is creating us problems, or that this is creating us, a lack of quality.
Very interesting, very practical way of applying these thoughts. Mireia, one last thing. You just became this week actually the first holder of the Joaquin Figueras Chair, Foundation Chair in Leadership and the Future of Work. Where are you headed intellectually? What's going to be your next project?
Okay, so I want to keep on working on new ways of leading. So, and I feel that this is one new way of leading, but I think that also I'm working to understand better, how companies can work more effectively with unions, for instance. Also, I'm very interested in understanding how the educational system can work better, to prepare people to then be effective in the workplace.
Thank you, Mireia.
Thank you very much, Hans.